Currently planned WrestleMania match night lineups have been revealed. 2 WWE Hall of Famers have teased a WrestleMania return, and 2 more AEW wrestlers are injured. It's time for the news. WrestleMania is fast approaching. I am the hype meter. Adjust me accordingly.
I'll go, if that's middle, I'll go about there. Not quite top, but like, I'm pretty excited.
Thank you very much. And according to WrestleVotes, the current match lineups for each night of WrestleMania are in place. According to their sources, this is how the individual nights of WrestleMania are currently placed. On night 1,
we've got Punk versus Reigns versus Rollins. We've got Gunter versus Jey Uso, Owens versus Orton, and Charlotte versus Tiffany.
And then on night 2, current plans are Cena versus Rhodes, Belair versus Ripley versus Sky, and Styles versus Paul. So I don't think there's any big surprises there. They split the 2 women's world title matches, one a night. That's no surprise, obviously. I fully expected Punk versus Reigns versus Rollins to be the night 1 headliner, and obviously Cena versus Cody night 2. There are a few matches missing. Men's mid-card titles aren't on there at the moment. On top of that, the women's tag team championships aren't there at the moment, if they're going to be defended on the show.
Yeah, also women's mid-card too. It remains to be seen how many, because that's a lot of title matches, if so, then, isn't there? The men's tag team titles as well, everything happening on SmackDown at the moment. There's still potentially quite a bit left to be revealed.
Yeah, for sure. 2 nights of WrestleMania. I would expect like 6 or 7 matches a night. So there's a lot of gaps to fill there. But you won't have to wait too long because WrestleMania isn't that far away. Speaking of the women's tag team titles, potentially, right?
Yeah.
A couple of WWE Hall of Famers who know each other very, very well because they both escaped the same womb are Nikki and Brie Bella. They have confirmed that they will be in Las Vegas to promote their Bonita Bonita wine, which Andrew drinks on the reg. And the Bella twins have hinted that they could actually be planning their WWE returns for the show, saying, do it in your voice.
What, my Dave Meltzer voice? No, Nikki said, who knows, the wine could be a distraction. Maybe we're there for other reasons.
And Brie said, we'll be in Las Vegas. Piss off. Grow up. She said, we'll be in Las Vegas. We're always ready. And let me tell you, we always have our gear packed. Brie hasn't wrestled since the 2022 Royal Rumble match, which was Nikki's last match, until she came back in January of this year for a big old Royal Rumble return there. They could just be talking bollocks. I don't know what Liv and Raquel do.
Who knows what anybody does in the tag team division?
No, you're right.
Do you know?
You're completely right.
Like, maybe they do something, because that's the only place I could see them fitting in if they obviously do come back as a tag team, which I'm sure they will do if they are turning up at WrestleMania. So maybe we do see something there between the 4 of them. It remains to be seen.
Nikki was teasing it and a potential reunion with Brie on WWE TV following the Royal Rumble match. And I'm sure WWE would love to have them on at WrestleMania.
Yeah.
And like, as far as fans who maybe haven't watched in a little while, who were watching while the Bellas were about, it's probably the biggest sort of draw they could do with the women's tag team titles.
Yeah.
If you want to do that match and you want people to go, oh, fancy a bit of that, then the Bellas, just for a bit of nostalgia, isn't a bad shout. I know they're a bit Marmite to some people. Some people love them, some people hate them, but they were hugely popular, and I think people would be interested in that match. Following WrestleMania, we look forward to WWE's summer calendar, and according to Corey Hayes of PWN, WWE are planning to run some major throws 3 weekends on the trot in June and July. So you look at June, we'll talk about early June first. That is Money in the Bank, is June the 7th, and then back to back, Night of Champions, Saturday, June 28th, end of the month. Following weekend, Evolution, Saturday, July 5th, and then after that, the week after, Saturday night's main event, predictably on Saturday, July the 12th. So the 28th of June, July the 5th, and then July the 12th, back to back. You've got 2 premium live events there, followed by the special in the form of Saturday night's main event. So it's going to be a busy old time for WWE. And then Money in the Bank. Like, this has felt like the longest wait ever from pay-per-view to pay-per-view. So premium live event to premium live event. Like, when we did the last one, that feels like a lifetime ago. And we've still got a couple of weeks until WrestleMania as well. It's been a big old gap. And so they're going to be packing it Packing it in during the summer. Tony Khan doing a media scrum yesterday to promote AEW Dynasty. Predictions and pitches on the channel right now. And he has been talking about Sting potentially appearing at the WWE Hall of Fame. It's a name that's been thrown around, of course, because Lex Luger is being inducted into this year's class of 2025. Sting is currently under a Legends contract with AEW, though, with him retiring at last year's Revolution. Tony Khan said on this media scrum,
he said, "I'm not sure. I'm very focused on AEW Dynasty. I talked to Sting recently before AEW Revolution, looking back on some great memories. We caught up on the phone right around the pay-per-view, and that was the last time we'd spoken. Haven't heard from him about that, obviously in regards to the Hall of Fame stuff. Certainly he's doing very well, and that relationship and friendship means so much to me, and we're all very grateful for Sting. The last time I talked to Sting, that didn't come up. Would have talked to him about that though."
Yeah, Tony Khan's really, really good at saying nothing for a very long amount of time. The only real big bit there is, would have to talk to him about that, and the fact that he's claimed that hasn't been spoken about. I very much doubt that hasn't that's not been spoken about. Yeah,
I don't think so too. Part of me thinks that, obviously he says that he absolutely loves and respects Sting, and I think for Sting, I think it'd be a big deal for him to be able to induct his pal old Lex Luger into the Hall of Fame. But whether it happens or not remains to be seen. As we've spoken about on the news before, things have happened, obviously, between both companies. Tony Khan did let Billy Gunn go and do that Hall of Fame when DX got inducted, and shots were fired at AEW, little jibes here and there.
Maybe got to sting a little bit. If you're doing the company a favor, you got Billy Gunn over there. That's a nice thing to do. You're helping them out in some small way to then have those shots fired. On top of that, obviously, you had Bryan Danielson, Chris Jericho popping up talking about John Cena via video package. So it's not uncommon, but things are perhaps they're not in the same position, are they?
A little more contentious, I feel like.
That's exactly it. So I don't think it's going to happen. At the same time, Tony Khan could just be saying words because contractually they have agreed that WWE announced that news, and Tony Khan can't just go, he's going to be there. Yeah, it's not really his place to do so. We're sticking with AEW now, and the injury bug has well and truly hit All Elite Wrestling. So yesterday we talked about Switchblade Jay White, who was hurt and pulled from the Owen Hart Cup. But since then, literally just yesterday, 2 new names have been added to AEW's ever-growing injury list. We've got, first of all, Orange Cassidy.
Yes, according to a report by Fightful Select, Orange Cassidy's out of action as he's recently suffered an injury. The sources said the early word is that he may have a torn pectoral muscle. Oh dear.
Yeah, so he was in that 4-way against Ricochet, Mark Davis, and Mike Bailey a couple of weeks ago, and it looks like, from what we could tell, it happened during a head scissors takedown to Ricochet during that match. He was holding his arm afterwards. So it's a varied recovery time on a torn pectoral, typically ranges from 4 to 6 months. But some people come back sooner. Obviously, sometimes it takes a little bit longer. So we send our very best to OC. And another, I think this is a really, really sad one, actually. Yeah. Mark Davis, Fightful Select reporting that Mark Davis sustained an injury during his match with Powerhouse Hobbs last week. It was obviously brought to an end earlier than it was supposed to. They don't know any details or a timeline on the injury, but sources in AEW that Fightful spoke to said that they felt horrible for Davis, noting how hard he had worked to return from injury. Obviously, he was away for a little while as well, and he was just getting going as a singles guy, wasn't he? It's just rough timing. Again, there's never a good time to get injured, obviously, but I think it's especially rough timing for Mark Davis, who I think has been impressing, and he's been doing great work.
He's been great, and again, it's sort of like the similar stuff with Jay White as well, in terms of you just come back from an injury and you're starting to get some momentum and starting to do some really cool stuff, and then this strikes you on it, and it sucks. I think Mark has been really sort of proving himself as a single star and doing some really, really fun stuff, and I was hoping to see some more Meat Planet stuff between them, more meat between Hobbs and Mark Davis, but sending nothing but the best. Hope he's doing all right.
Absolutely. So as well as the aforementioned Jay White, other currently injured names, you got Buddy Matthews out, obviously, Eddie Kingston, Juice Robinson, Killswitch, Wardlow, a couple of meaty men right there, and Sky Blue, not a meaty man. Anyway, that's it from us. We send our very best once again to Orange Cassidy and Mark Davis and the Bella Twins. Sorry about the voice. We'll be back with more news very, very soon. Take care of yourselves, and we will see you in a bit.